Hey everybody, how y'all doing? Glad for you to see me. I guarantee. I stole that line. Let me make some setting changes here. Let's see. We got Bebby, JoJo, Freeman Scum, Southpaw wearing my helmet. Let's see. Hey, I'm actually in the chat too, folks. D Trip. Hey, D Trip, you might get some rain overnight or tomorrow. Cat. And I think that's it. And, oh, Bearcat, after I scroll back down. I had some pretty good rain come through here early this morning. And I tell you what, and none of the meteorologists has mentioned this, but I think part of that rain that we got in the really cold air might have been some precipitation left over from Hillary. So Hillary ended up slamming me anyway. Really strong winds when that came through this morning. Everything circled around that high pressure system, and it came up around North Dakota, Wisconsin, and was moving southeast towards Pennsylvania, and all of a sudden it took a sharp right turn and came due south. But the winds were out of the south with the storm coming out of the north. It was really strange, but it was really strong winds. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And my topics for tonight is mainly going to be Tropical Storm Franklin. I will, Jane. I will. Yeah, you got some storms up there, and a severe watch for the southern half, or a little bit over up there in Michigan. So, but anyway, we're going to talk about the full tropical update, Pacific and Atlantic, and an area that I mentioned that might come towards Florida. Several days ago, I mentioned this, folks. Now the models are starting to come together. The GFS still ain't showing it. Hey, thanks for the new follow. Yeah, I'll tell you more about the laser. Matter of fact, I got a project to show you that I did the other night after my stream. Sorry about yesterday. We were under excessive heat index. I never went out during the day, but it still affected inside my apartment. The humidity was like 78, or dew point was 78% on the dew point temp. And so, it was well over 100-degree feel-like temperature. It's finally down to 99 outside. I did go out at 10 o'clock. Now, I've got my air conditioner set at 76, okay, trying to save on electricity. It still got horrible in here yesterday, and I was really wanting to do a stream, but there wasn't much to update because Franklin was still over Dominican Republic. It hadn't come off of Dominican Republic yet. And so other than this other new area that's forming down in Central America that's coming up, there was nothing new yesterday anyway, and I was sick of my stomach. I was sleepy, headache, and I was inside my apartment, and the air conditioner was just about running totally. So anyway, that's the reason why I didn't stream yesterday. We're also going to talk a little bit later about Hawaii and their fire over there in Maui. I got a couple things that I heard. Seems to be true. I'll update you on what I found out. And there's no update on the wolves, except for I do have a picture to show you of the pups taking it easy in the hot weather. You would think down in the valley it'd be cooler, but over there where they're at, no. A lot of humidity being next to that creek, and it's always hotter there than what it is over here when I check the temps over in Brookville, Indiana. Wichita. Let's see, JB, 1010, Jane. Love you, Jane. Hope you're taking care of yourself. So let's get over here to the main and show you what's happening at the moment. So we got this high pressure system still causing hell, and everything is circling around it. There's even severe watches and warnings in Canada, north of North Dakota. And so what do we got here in Michigan? We got this line right here. And let me actually bring up radar for that area. Up here around Grand Rapids is a good place to start. We got a couple severe warnings up there. And these storms have been pretty nasty. So let me load up some back data. Let's see which direction. I don't trust when these boxes say which direction it's moving. I never trust that. I like to bring up the back data. And as you can see, it's mainly moving southeast. So, and this is all going to be headed for Pennsylvania. It went by you already? So much needed rain, I suppose. It seems to be moving fairly fast. Hail is relatively small in this line for the most part. Let's see what we got here right now. I got 1.5 inch. It's only 90% possible with 60 severe. We get over here close to Saginaw, 1 inch, 40 severe. So relatively, it's kind of small. So, hey, we got a one of our chasers up there around Carson City. So, yeah, all this is mainly moving southeast. Now, as far as the Storm Prediction Center, let me turn the GOES off. Look at this area right here. We got an enhanced risk right across Detroit. From near Grand Rapids, moving southeast. It's going to go into Pennsylvania. The yellowish color or the goldish color, that's a slight. There is a 5% tornado risk for Detroit, Toledo, Cleveland, Ashtabula, Youngstown. And then the green is the 2% area. This is going to get expanded as all this moves northeast. I really don't think it's going to turn south like the one overnight last night and into this morning. So that's what we got going on in the country. And let's get over here to monitor 6. And I want to show you on a satellite view just what's going on. Let's go to land. United States. Can you tell where the high pressure is circling clockwise? Let's see. Rowan, Cabarrus. Let's see. Airedale counties in North Dakota is a severe warning. So you could definitely see here, folks, where the spin, where the high pressure is. It's right in here, and everything is circling around that and coming down. Now, this is going to change a little bit after this weekend, I do believe, from what I've seen. So, hopefully, here in the Northeast, we're going to get a break. Hey, we got a tornado warning in Kent County, Michigan. A little bit of rotation action happening up in there. So for North Carolina, let me get down here to North Carolina over here on the main. Yeah, a couple severe warnings. These again appear to be headed southeast. We got some tropical thunderstorm wind damage. I got tropical on the mine. So that's going to be headed down towards Rockingham. Sanford, Carthage, all in there is where this storm seems to be heading down here. So let's get back up here to Kent County, Michigan. Now that that warning showed up, it's real close to the radar site. So I'm going to have to raise the tilt up over here. Yep, there it is. I may have to raise the tilt up some more. Yeah, there's about 3,000 feet. So it's going to be about right in there. Let's change colors. It's going to be about right in there. We got some rotation. It's radar indicated. So if you're in the path of this, I would definitely take shelter. The storm appears to be moving at about 30 to 35 mile per hour to the southeast. And area rotation looks like headed for Lowell, Saranac, Clarksville. All in this area is where it's headed. It could be a quick spin up, so we'll have to wait and see. It's so close to the radar site, it's hard to tell too awful much about it. So let's get on to the tropics. Over here on monitor 6. Hey, thanks for the new follow. Hey, fire truck. So these two areas here, this one's the remnants of Emily. They're saying there's a possibility it could get stronger and head for England. So anybody up there in England and the surrounding countries could have an issue with really strong winds. There's a weak high pressure system over to the east of it, and that's what's going to spin it around. That's only got a 40% chance in the next 24 hours. You're going to surf the waves of Franklin on Monday. That's something else that I want to talk about here in a little bit. This one down here, 92L. 50% chance in the next 7 days, but I don't give it, if it's going to go this way, I don't give it any high hopes. It's just kind of struggling out here. Here's this new area. It's got a 70% chance as of 8 o'clock update. It hasn't got an invest number yet. 70% chance in the next week. And it's spinning around in the Central American gyre that we normally don't see till around October. But we've already got a Central American gyre happening. I'll show you satellite view here in a bit. So this is the one that I talked about several days ago that the Euro was showing. Well, now the Euro, Canadian model, and some of the other ensembles are really starting to show this being pretty strong. GFS is lagging behind, just the opposite of normal. And then we got Franklin, north of the Dominican Republic. This thing has a pretty good chance of becoming a major hurricane. Come Monday, well, let's see. No, back it up. 2 p.m. Saturday, they're saying it could be a hurricane. Let's get to the interactive. I like the interactive. So you could see where she started down here. Or he started. It's Franklin. So he started east of these islands down here, the Leeward and Windward Islands, and came across and flat turned north. Some of the issue, the reason why it turned north is we've got a lot of wind shear right now going like that. And when I show you the satellite view, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Even looking at the wind field, center is about right in here. Look where all the wind field is. It's all east loaded, and that's because of the wind shear that's happening. But it's like I talked about the other night, it's going to get up out of that wind shear, and that's when it'll start turning back to the left. So at this point, it's only going to be a Cat 1, 80 mile per hour wind gust. But then let's come on up here, because the cone of uncertainty up here has 110 mile per hour winds in this thing. Now, Bermuda is going to feel the effects from this thing. There's Bermuda right there. So as this thing goes by, remember that the strongest part of the storm, if the storm's like this, the strongest part's going to be this right front quadrant. So they're going to get some pretty stiff winds, some wave action, possible flooding and that. And just like I talked about the other night, even though it's pretty far away from the coast, if it becomes a major hurricane, our coast is going to see rip currents, nice swells, maybe some really good winds. There's already been some watches put out. Actually, let's go over here. And all this purple, by the way, is excessive heat warning. I'll be glad when this thing gets up out of here. So we got small craft advisories already from just south of Richmond all the way up to Maine. So, and this is going to get even worse as the storm. You got to remember the storm's clear down here yet. So when it turns left, and we'll have to keep a close eye on it, even though it's going to be pretty far away according to the latest model runs. It's a little too early, NatSpan, to talk about projected wave forecast. It's really not showing all that great because it's just too far away at this point. I don't even have anything up here for it. So look at it. This is amazing. What severe watches and warnings clear up in Winnipeg, Canada, and that whole area up there. So as once Franklin turns left and starts getting, more coming our direction, then I'll start doing some wave forecasts and surges and possible flooding. So it's way down here right now, so it's a little too far out. But so let's go ahead and look at Franklin. Now this is the infrared satellite, and I don't know why it's jerking like that. Hey T-Man, thanks for the info. So let's change the plot. Let's go, here we go. So look for this spin, and you can see the spin is clear over here. So this thing's all eastern loaded at this point. And if you watch these clouds down to the bottom left, they're wanting to come up this way. So that's wind shear, just like I showed you the other night in the models. But it's going to get past that, and that's when it'll make that left-hand turn, and it'll get up in here and then start to turn. So that's a Franklin. So I don't have an invest number yet for what's coming in Florida. Yeah, that's going to be just outside of Grand Rapids. It should go, that tornado warning, it's got that part of the storm going past Grand Rapids. So, but I can see where they're sounding off the sirens. So that's a look at Franklin. So let's start looking at some forecast models. And this is Franklin right down here. But I want to change the dynamics to not that one. Why'd I do that? So here's Franklin down here at the bottom right. So let's take this forward in time. Now this is the GFS. And watch this area down here. It doesn't really show anything the last time I looked at this. So this is Sunday. You can see she's starting to turn left. Hey, thanks for that tier 1 sub. She's starting to turn left, and watch her ramp up really tight. I mean, this thing's starting to get really tight. Those circles are starting to get closer together. Really strong wind field. That's what's going to give us some interaction up and down the coast. Take it further in time. Now, this is the little bit of energy that the other models are showing something coming up towards Florida. So the key thing about Franklin is going to be where. Oops, that's the wrong one. I want Northern Atlantic. So where's it going to go from here? Well, these latest GFS and Euro model runs, it's pretty good on this. By the way, this is 92L. Kind of sits up there, and this circle here, that's the high pressure. It's fairly weak right now, but it's strong enough to help steer this. But at this point, Franklin's really strong. Now, is it going to hit Nova Scotia or Newfoundland? That's too far out to tell. I mean, this is clear out to Thursday the 31st. And you can see this doesn't show anything coming at Florida. But let's check the Euro. This is 92L. This is Franklin. And here's the question. What's this one going to do? So we'll take this ahead in time on the Euro. And watch that little puppy down there tighten up. Now, some of the model runs has had this thing. It's not going to be nowhere near as strong as Franklin up here. That's Franklin. 92L. 92L on the Euro says it's going to be getting fairly strong, and it's kind of curious to know what this thing's going to do with this weak high pressure system up here. But this thing right here, some of the models is showing Tampa to the Big Bend, the northern part of the west side of Florida. And then it crosses over and scoots up along the coast. There goes Franklin. 92L, it's just kind of spinning around, and it says, hey, bud, I want to come over here and play with you. And now this is as far as the Euro is going out right now. But 92L comes over here and tries to meet up with this thing. So it's going to be pretty curious to see what happens. Again, this is the high pressure ridge. Usually the high pressure ridge this time of year is really strong, so anything that comes off of Africa comes around this way. But as you've seen on the 7-day hurricane forecast, Hurricane Center forecast, these tropical waves are coming this way. So that's because of a weak high. Real strong high would have kept everything moving west and then coming up at us. But it's still a little early. We got till September 10th to hit our peak. So let's go ahead and let's back this up. And I want to change region over here to the Pacific side. Eastern Pacific. So we got a couple areas over here. I forgot to show you that. Let me reload this. Make sure I got one up to date. We got a couple of areas here. They dropped this down. It wasn't like 70% in the next week. But I didn't have any high hopes for this because yesterday this thing was going to turn and smash right into central Mexico. So I didn't have any hopes on this one. Now this one is up to 70% chance of a formation in the next 2 days. 80% in 7. So when we go over to the models, let's see what the Euro shows on this. Now this is interesting. Oh, wait a minute. That was Harold. Never mind. I was too far back in time. So here's that one that's going to be going northwest. And The one over here that did have a 70% chance of formation that I said was going to smack central Mexico, it's not getting its act together at all. And this thing's moving fairly slow, but it's going to run into some cooler waters. So I really don't think it's going to get very strong. The Euro's not showing it getting stronger. The GFS, now here goes the GFS. This is normal for the GFS. It shows a lot stronger, right? A lot darker, bolder than what the Euro did. So that's typical GFS, but for some reason GFS just can't grasp this. That's going to come off of Central America, kind of clip the Yucatan there. Really warm, deep waters here in the northwestern part of the Caribbean and the Gulf. So you're supposed to go on a cruise to Canada, New England, and out to Baltimore September 1st. I tell you what, it's getting close to the end of the cruise season. Now, the GFS has this thing going west at this point, so let's take a look at Hawaii. Over here in Central Pacific, this is Hawaii. Is this thing going to come over? Is the GFS right for once? Ooh, we'll have to keep a close eye on that. Look at this, folks. Now she's starting to weaken. That's that cooler water over around Hawaii. But we'll have to keep a close eye on this. If it stays a little bit further south going west, it could really hurt the efforts there in Hawaii as far as cleanup and that. Speaking of Hawaii, let's get over here to the studio. Two things that I heard yesterday and today was yesterday the Hawaiian Electric Company is trying to say we asked Biden for funding to clean up all the areas, the easement areas around the power poles and the power lines. And they were refused. They were only allowed to spend their money on the Green New Deal crap. So that was the one thing that I heard. Now today, that same electric company, the Hawaii Electric Company, is starting to catch hell for, hey, why didn't you just turn the power off? You knew that fire was coming. Why didn't you just turn it off? Turn off all the power. All them people would have had a better chance to get the heck up out of there. You know, the fire actually started, supposedly, over on the east side and came up over the extinct volcano, the hills there, and then came down over to Lahaina. So I don't know. There's going to be an investigation on it. Congress has already said they're going to be doing an investigation into Biden and the Maui wildfire incident. So we'll have to wait and see what comes out of that. So, any questions so far before I move on? My laser project the other night. Now, I mentioned that I wanted to do black scratch paper laser engraving for Hurricane Hillary. And there was two reasons I wanted to do that. First off, it was a historic event because a tropical storm hasn't hit directly into California since 1939. So this was a historic event. And secondly, it was our first landfall of the year. So here's what I did. Now, it's got clear coated, so you're going to see some sparkles on it here. I don't know why it's doing that. Let me try. I don't know why I got the sparkles up there. But that's pretty cool, huh? That come out really nice. Naturally, I clear coated it so it won't get scratched up anymore. I do plan on putting this into a frame. I will make that file available later on. That took me a couple tries because I forgot what the settings I had created for the black scratch paper. I haven't been documenting very well. So now tonight I'm going to try to work with acrylic again. I got a couple new ideas. I'm really struggling trying to do clear acrylic because since the diode laser goes through the acrylic, it has to bounce off of something like black. And I either got the power wrong or the speed wrong because I'm getting pops and cracks, little dots in the thing. It looks like crap. Well, that's what I was talking about. They're keeping their lines clear. Biden refused to send them more money to do that, supposedly. So that's it for the laser. Like I said, I stayed in bed yesterday because I wasn't feeling well. Thank you, excessive heat. Here's what the pups are doing. Now, they do have fans for the wolves that around it is a pipeline that's mist, sends out a mist, and the fan blows it out. So they're laying in front of a fan, and this one is Creosote, okay? This is Sailor. Creosote's the only male, and this is Nakoma. So, ain't they pretty? God, I love them. They were just chewing on some old deer bones and enjoying that cool misted breeze coming off their fans. And yeah, they've really grown. They're up there like 60 pounds already. So I had a good time with them. Last weekend, I was going to try, back over here to the studio, I was going to try to go over again Saturday because it looked like it was going to be in the low 80s, but like I told Sean, we're either going to be the first ones there or we're not even going to bother to go because last time we run a little bit late and I ended up in the fourth group of people. Because there were so many people there to see the wolves because they had been closed for over a month due to a flood. So now that I'm seeing the latest forecast and it looks like it's going to be almost 90 degrees, so they'll be closed. So I'm not going to go see them this weekend. So I wished I could because I wanted to get more pictures and videos of them. This is from my visit. They were fighting over a wolfsicle. I named it wolfsicle. Actually, the owner got a kick out of that. And what it is, it's just like Kool-Aid or juice with some fruit frozen in a cup. And then they give it to him. So Creosote's on the left, and he was saying, this is mine. I mean, he got serious. He snapped at Sailor, and I tell you, a wolf growl is, even though they're teenagers, his growl sounded like a full-grown wolf. I mean, he meant business. He was serious. And Nakoma, she got the other one. Now, here they, and I told most of you this several days ago, that shoe right there, that's one of the volunteers, and he was going to pick it down, or bend down and pick it up from Nakoma, and you could see her mouth open, and she's like, this is mine. So she had her own wolfsicle. He was going to cut it up so they could all enjoy it without fighting over it. And there's Nakoma licking and chewing on it. Oh yeah, they just go nuts over these. Usually they have like ice cubes size, but they decide to do it in big cups. So, oh goodness, I tell you what, it's so much fun over there. Oh, have you over there in the UK? Yeah, Germany and some of the other countries is having a major heat wave over there. Uh, oh, on Maui, something that I heard early this morning was the chief of police there. This is kind of weird. He used to be the chief of police in Vegas when they had that multi-shooting massacre not too awful long ago, and now he's chief of police in Maui in Lahaina. Uh, he's also the coroner. Now, I think that's a conflict of interest. How can you be the chief of police and trying to protect the community that's still around there and take care of being a coroner? Besides, as far as I have ever known, the coroner has to be, or medical examiner, has to be a doctor. It has to be a doctor, and he's no doctor. So there's some controversy going on there. So anyway, that's all I got on Maui. I forgot to mention that a minute ago. So I'm already losing people. So we might as well go ahead and talk about politics. Now, I've always said I never talk about religion or politics on this channel, right? But I think this is getting to a point where it's really important that I start expressing my opinion. So I watched the Republican debate last night. There was three guys on the left that shouldn't even been there. And I watched about 15 minutes and I already was getting pissed off, not feeling good. I couldn't even drink a beer to calm my nerves down. I was getting all wound up. After 30 minutes, it got so bad I started changing the channel. I started watching NCIS, one of my favorite shows. And then every now and then I just couldn't stand it. I had to switch back over to the debate, which was live on Fox News. And as soon as Pence and Chris Christie started talking, I had to change the channel. They wanted to keep arguing, interrupting. Turns out Mike Pence kept interrupting people. He ended up talking more than anybody else got a chance to. Poor Tim Scott, which I really like. He's a great Christian. Um, he's got some good values. Grew up poor, came from nowhere. He's in the Senate running for president. He hardly ever got to talk at all. And he's got some good policy ideas. And uh, and that started irritating me. So they say Vivek Ramaswamy, which is from Cincinnati. I just found that out earlier. That he actually won it. I don't think so. I don't know. He's got some good ideas, but he reminds me of a motivational speaker. Okay? He don't remind me of a politician, which he's not. He's a businessman, like Trump was. And I think DeSantis, he was real stern, but he wasn't personable. He was really stern about everything that he said, but he said some really good things. Vivek Ramaswamy, actually, I caught him in two lies last night, and so I don't know about this guy. And he wants it come out last night. He wants to defund the money that we send to help Israel. We don't want to do that. We got to be on the side of Israel always. We always, almost always have been, except for back when the country started. But he wants to totally stop funding the war in Ukraine, which I kind of agree with. We need to spend that money on ourselves, protect ourselves first. But then again, we don't want Russia taking Ukraine because then Putin's already said he's going to take over Poland and all the other countries that's right up against NATO. So, I don't know. Something has to be done about that. But also, he said something really nasty about Trump. And last night, he came out and said Trump was the best president in the 21st century. I don't like everything that Trump does and says, but his record of what he did get to do in those 4 years, prices were down and the economy was great. So, but in Vivek's book, he really badmouthed Trump in his book. And Chris Christie read word for word, and Vivek turned around and said, I never said that. It's in your book. How can you say you never said that? Same way when Nikki Haley said Vivek was wanting to not send any more money or defund Israel. Oh, I never said that. It's on video of him saying that. So, and he wants to turn Taiwan over to China by 2028. What the heck's up with that? We've always defended Taiwan since we chased Japan out of there in World War II. And a lot of our computer chips and other technology stuff and a lot of things actually are made in Taiwan. So, you turn Taiwan over to China so they can have the computer chips and then keep us from getting them. There you go. That's my feeling. This is all my opinion, folks, of what I have found out and the way I think about it. Trump, right before I started to stream, Trump was in Georgia getting fingerprinted, mugshot, weight. I am kind of curious to know how much that guy weighs. But this is all stupid crap. Like I say, I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat, I'm a conservative independent. And however you feel in your heart, or whoever you feel in your heart you want to vote for, please do. Because that's the only way things are going to change. So, do you know they impeached Biden? No, they have not yet. They're talking about in the middle of September, Congress comes back in session, or they've been on vacation. A much earned vacation, unlike Biden that takes 2 vacations a month. He's still on vacation. Why Trump's getting fingerprinted, dumbass is on vacation. So anyway, they're talking about impeachment inquiry. That's not the same thing as impeachment. The impeachment inquiry gives them more power to investigate. It gives them more authority on the subpoenas and stuff. So, besides, if the House impeaches him, it goes to the Senate, and the Senate will say, we don't agree with this because the Senate's totally run by the Democrats. So it never passed the Senate anyway. So there's no sense of impeaching him. And if we was to impeach him, guess who takes his place? Cackling Kamala. Do you really want Kamala Harris as your president until the election? I don't think so. I think Joe Biden picked her because her poll numbers were less than his. Oh man, yeah, good old Kamala Harris. I tell you what. But anyway, I don't want to get too deep into politics because that chases people off. I don't want to piss anybody off. I'm only giving you my opinion. Hey, could you not use caps, please? Makes me feel like you're hollering at me, Mark. But, she's the czar over AI and the border and so many other things that she don't even know what the fuck she's doing. Excuse my language. And I tell you what, my 13-year-old grandson could do a better job than either one of them two. And he don't even know what politics is yet. He isn't high enough in school to learn civics and stuff like that. So anyway, that's my opinion. Solely my opinion. If you live here in the U.S., I hope you vote, and I hope you vote for who you think will change your life. Your life is more important. So vote for who's going to change your life, and we'll worry about the rest of the country as that goes. Got a new pair of glasses now. You can't see. Oh, a new pair of glasses coming. So okay, Mark. I don't have anything else to share tonight. I wanted to play around with the laser last night, but like I said, I wasn't feeling good enough. And I tell you what, at 10 o'clock, I finally said, heck with this, I need a beer after watching that stupid debate. And I opened up the door. Now, like I said, my air conditioner was set on 76 degrees, trying to save energy, right? Keep my bills down. Because this stuff right here, Tice, is a lot of my electric bill. So, Barry for president. Sweet! I'll do it. I'll fire everybody and start over from scratch. But anyway, I opened up the door. It was still 88 degrees and 76 or 78 dew point at 10 o'clock last night. I opened that door and that hot, damp air hit me in the face, and I thought I was going to throw up. I did go get me a beer and come back, and I drank one beer, fell asleep. I was like, oh crap. So, oh my God, Trump's mugshot's released, and he looks pissed. Yeah, I do too, Mark. That keeps me up. Matter of fact, I didn't get to sleep till after, I think it was 8 or 9 o'clock this morning because both of my shoulders were hurting. And I think a lot of that was that front that came through last night. God, it cooled off. The air that was blowing in around my window was actually kind of cool. And that was early this morning, right around daylight. So it was really nice feeling, but then my shoulders were cramping up and hurting because, well, it happened when I got hit by a tornado at work. Both of my rotator cuffs are screwed up. I was in the middle of cancer surgery, so the shoulders had to wait, and then it was too late. The last surgeon I went to see on my right shoulder, he looked at the x-rays and the MRIs and the CAT scans, and he said it's too late. He said I might make it worse if I was to do surgery. So it's like, screw it. But then now, the older I'm getting, the worse the pain's getting, and I don't take pain meds. Ibuprofen is the strongest thing I take. So I didn't get a good neck rub from Nash this past Saturday, and my neck, it needs popped. I need a good chiropractor. But so far, whenever I go see Nash, when he climbs up on top of my head and starts rubbing like hell, him at about 150 pounds, my neck pops. And all he did Saturday, since I was in the fourth group, and he came up to me and he touched his nose up against mine, turned around and walked out into the horseweed, not to be seen again. So he didn't even go around nobody else at all. He did come to me, touch his nose on mine, and that was it. I didn't get a head rub for Nash. So my neck is stiff. It needs to be popped big time. So anyway, folks, that's all I got for tonight. I do plan on doing a stream again tomorrow night. Because we got to keep an eye on that thing down in Central America headed for Florida. Now, Nathan did post several days ago that if that comes to fruition, he might go see Nax, because Nax lives down there around the Big Bend area, instead of him going to Yellowstone first. So Nathan might go down there and chase it. So we'll have to wait and see. I'll keep you guys abreast of what that's going to do, as well as Franklin. Right now, the East Pacific, I'm not too worried about that one headed towards Hawaii because that's so far out. Well, I'll keep an eye on it. The models will change and the conditions will change, so we'll just have to wait and see on that one. But the one in Central America is so close to us that gotta really keep an eye on it. I mentioned it, and the TV meteorologist never even mentioned this thing till today. I even beat Dr. Cohen. I started, wondering about this, and I listened to Dr. Cohen. He's the one that has Tropical Tidbits, which is the page that I use all the time. And I even beat him with questions about this thing and started looking at it and analyzing it. And the TV meteorologist didn't even start talking about this thing till today. So I'll keep a close eye on that. People in Florida might get hammered. We'll have to wait and see. So thank you everybody for being here. Thanks for subs, any bits that I might have missed, any direct donations, my PayPal, greatly appreciated. It helps me pay the bills on this thing and keeping this thing up and running. So until tomorrow night, peace. Papa Topper, me. I'll catch you on the next broadcast. Y'all have to stay cool and have a good night.